Okay, video is starting. Did we start? Oh, shush. Okay. Are we going? No, it's buffering. Okay. There we go. It started on 2 seconds. Excellent. We're doing well. All right, let me get that thing off of here. All right. This is Stella. All right, this is going to be an attempt. Okay, the verbalization. She's very verbal, this dog. I know, she sounds like she's mad, but she's not. She's just very vocal. You want to talk to the people? Everything that happens on energetic transmission, and this is an activation today. It's very pertinent. So I'm starting with her. Energy's already running, but they're already doing stuff with my head. Okay, I'll explain this in a minute. It's a little bit of a test today. It's a little bit of a celebration. Today is my 55th, not birthday. Today is my 55th transmission, live stream. And it's also an activation for the collective of the 55th gene key, if you're not familiar with that. Here's the book. This is the book Gene Keys. If you're not familiar with it, I strongly recommend it. I didn't get it for the longest time, but it turns out for a really long time I've been saying that 55 is the Joan of Arc reversal code, and I didn't know what that meant. I just paid attention to every time the number 55 showed up, and then people kept telling me to get the Gene Keys book, but I couldn't afford it. I finally could afford it, and I bought it, and then I looked up my Gene Keys, so you can look up your own constellation, your own gene keys. And it turns out that 55 is like a really major gene key that is unique in all the gene keys. And it's my life purpose number. And it's a gene key that relates to freedom. And it's also an 11 gateway, not just because it's the number 55, but because it relates to freedom in 2 places. So the gift and the city are both the same. City, not city, but the city, S-I-D-D-H-I, are both freedom. So you've got another 11. Anything that's repeated twice, anytime you see a repeat, whether it's in a word or whatever it is, anything that's doubled, you can use that as an avenue, an 11 gateway. It can act as a portal if you know how to do it. Anyway, so today is my 55th transmission, and it's also, and it's my initial attempt. I'm going to put Stella down for a second because I want to use my diagram. One moment, please. You stay over there. She growls, but she only growls when she's happy. I've learned that about her. It's a little contrary. We're going to see if other dogs come in. I think they will. We've got 3 dogs here. I wanted to start by, first of all, okay. So I haven't done a live stream in a while. So any of you who've followed my work for a while know that, and okay, it's a test. This is a little bit of a test. We're going to see what happens. This is my initial attempt to make my transmissions shorter because I know it's not like I don't hear the complaints. You know, you talk for 4 hours, you talk for 7 hours. My calls go for 7 hours, 8 hours. We pick it up the next day. That's because when that happens, also my nose is really running now. When that happens, it's because I'm doing work along the widest end of the portals. And so we prioritize the energy flow because we need to. So the attempt, though, is that we're trying to work in here where it's much more difficult, it's much denser. And I'm making an attempt to bridge these avenues by getting right in the center, where I basically am, but I'm having a hard time, have been having a hard time reaching this point and getting all of the circuitry. It's like 4 tornadoes with rebar in the center. And what we're trying to do is create a functional flow. You don't have to follow any of this. But this is an energetic transmission. So you don't have to necessarily follow the linear information. The advanced teachings are given in a nonlinear way. They're sent directly into your head. So in order for that to happen, your crown chakra has to be open. Your third eye has to be opener. It has to be wider. And your whole energetic field, you also have to be connected in certain ways. So a lot of what I do is energetic circuitry, right? So part of my challenge has been to find ways to get the sheer quantity of energy that needs to run, must get delivered to this location, to where it's densest. But they can only accommodate small amounts at a time because it's very high vibrations. And it's very triggering. It causes headaches, if they get too much too quick. So someone suggested, I think it was Tina Hammond had suggested, a lot of people complained that it was, that my live streams are very long, which I'm aware. But I'm also aware that I'm serving as a bridge. And my role, one of my roles, is to bridge those who need a lot of information and those who do need the same amount of information, but they can only tolerate small, little bite-sized tic-tac portions at a time. But the goal is to get everyone aligned and in a sequence so that it's smooth. So according to bandwidth, you don't need to know where you are, but if my energy today is going to go out to you, you're going to be active. You are being activated by the sound of my voice. And also, you get light codes from this transmission, so you don't have to, you're going to be automatically connected. First, you're going to be cleared of, I deliver very high energy, high vibrational energetic transmission that clears long-standing blockages and areas of stagnation. So all of the debris that is ready to be cleared right now, it's going to be activated and kind of discharged, swept out, and that's going to allow you to pick up some of your own natural energetic signature, more of it. I'm not adding anything to you that's not there. We're just kind of clearing out some debris. And that's going to allow your own energetic signature to be more fully expressed. And because of that, your own soul tribe is going to be able to more clearly recognize you and find you, and like attracts like. Nobody can find you if you're not home. Nobody can find you if you're shielding yourself, if you're hiding your own truest essence, if you're hiding your authenticity. Your soul tribe is going to have a real tough time reaching you if you're not in your truest self. We need you to be a lot bolder and come out of whatever closet you're in. So whether you're, when I don't do private sessions anymore right now, but that used to be the first, one of the first questions I usually ask people is, to what degree are you in the closet with, about what you really think about things, about your beliefs, who you are? To what degree are you in the closet with your friends and family and your spouse? And it is astonishing to me how many people are living with people that they can't be honest with, that they can't be, they're afraid to be themselves in front of. And that's a certain amount of tragic. That's tragic. So let's not do that. Steve challenged me to do see if you can do 5-minute energy activation. Kids, it's not going to happen. Sorry. I just get it. There's just too much. There's so much propulsion behind me. You don't have to listen to this entire thing. I will tell you that you will be activated by watching a small portion of this. The other day, I had sent somebody to watch Aurora. Aurora also has Aurora from Flying Rainbow Lasagna. She has whole courses out for lessons for full spectrum humans. And she has a very pure, very high, just stunning, high energy. And she also delivers an energetic activation every time you listen to her. You don't have to go through even the course. It just the sheer exposure to her energetic signature is enough to really lift you up. So I really encourage you. You can find her on YouTube. And I sent somebody to watch her the other day. I said, if you really want to boost, to kind of test your see how you're doing. If you need an energetic lift, go listen to anything by Aurora from Flying Rainbow Lasagna. And somebody said, I love her, but if I listen to her for like 3 minutes, I get a splitting headache and I feel nauseous. I said, well, that's because the activation is working. The people who are actively in purge mode, you know, like right now, especially the lower masculine collective, doesn't matter if you're masculine or feminine, but the lower collective, the second wave, is going through a humongous purging process right now. So light is massively triggering. Most people, when they come in contact with my energy, one of two things happens. They either they're really attracted to me, they really love me because there's a catalyzation effect, and they're strongly attracted like a moth to a flame. It's something that's there's a recognition, and they're very pulled forward. Or if they're carrying usually a lot of compressed third dimensional programming, I will just trigger the crap out of them. For real, which serves a purpose. So I'm not upset about that at all. I don't blame them. I better have a trigger than, and venting is far healthier than any kind of repression. And one of the worst things you can do is maintain the asphalt of polite society at the expense of honesty and truthful communication. What we really need to do right now is prioritize honesty, prioritize truth, prioritize the flow. And if you need to vomit, I'm not saying project your shit all over anybody, but there has to be a safe place to vent. So I cause that to happen in a lot of people. It really doesn't bother me. It's really important to not judge it. So if you're stepping into your authenticity, you may be noticing that you catalyze a lot of people. And it doesn't matter what you do, doesn't even matter what your action is. You could walk into a room and say nothing and smile. And people will just, certain people will just really be turned off by you or angry, or you're just going to trigger them. Sometimes that happens. So if you can just ride that out and know that you're just there, just say thank you to yourself. You don't have to do anything differently. Keep shining your light. This is what we came for. Don't take it personally. And it also won't last forever. Got a lovely lovely message from somebody the other day. I saw somebody really attack Ramona Lapin, who I love. I love Ramona Lapin. And somebody just attacked her online. And I didn't really comment, but I wrote I kind of came out in Ramona's defense. And I said, I've never heard Ramona say anything remotely venomous like what's coming out of your mouth right now. So, she was being accused of, anyway, I won't get into it, but I said, if there's negativity being spewed here, look in the mirror, because it's, Ramona is all positivity. Anyway, this woman didn't like it, and she sent me just a barrage of curses, and for a couple of days. And I wasn't triggered, but I did notice it. And it just quite venomous and quite toxic, and really hostile directed at me. And I told one person about it. And so that's one thing that's been coming up a lot lately. This isn't at all what I was going to talk about. This always happens. I started out, I was going to talk about something totally different, but here we go. Hang on. I've got two groups of people. I guess I'm going to stay in my authenticity and just do what I do, because I can't do a 10-minute. I just can't. If you have to leave, you've gotten what you needed. Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to do it that way. I am going to talk about how my work has changed, why I'm no longer doing private sessions, and what I'm doing now, because it's really pretty weird. It's not weird. I love it. I wouldn't trade it. I love what I'm doing now. But it has changed, and it affects the collective, and I'm totally jazzed about it. So I do want to tell you what's been going on, because a lot of you are going to be affected. Well, you're all going to be affected. At any rate, if you have to go, okay. You can pick the rest of this up later if you need to, and if not, then that's fine too. You'll get what you need. Where was I going with this? Oh, yeah, I had told somebody that I've been noticing a lot of, because this is one thing I've heard from a number of people recently. I do a lot of group calls, and one thing that's been coming up is that a lot of people are kind of erupting and having very hostile reactions to other people in their groups. I've noticed it's been a repeat motif that has just been cropping up everywhere like a patchwork quilt. You see something, and you know how it's all a fractal system. So if it's happening one place, you just kind of keep an eye out, and you see that it's happening kind of in a grid formation. It's pretty much happening everywhere. And just notice it. That's all. So we were noticing that there's been a lot of members of groups that suddenly get venomous or blast other members and leave. I feel this is toward a purpose. So let's not take it personally. There's just a lot of eruption energy, and certain people have to leave groups and go into other groups, and that's just part of the circulation system, and that's one of the things we're here to do. So but somebody had said, well, I just block those people. I just ignore them. I just block them. And a number of people said that to me. And I was just kind of observing, not saying I'm right and they're wrong, or they're right and I'm wrong. I was just noticing. I asked myself this question, should I block this woman or not? And I elected not to. And there are people that I do block immediately. If anybody hits on my online, I block them immediately. I don't want any of those messages. That's an instant block. But for some reason, this woman who came at me with such personal, targeted assault energy, it didn't bother me at all. And I actually really genuinely, I really did an inventory, and I thought, well, is this something I should block? And I thought, no, actually, I believe that no matter how it looks, this is an ally, because she may not know she's an ally. I mean, I'm confident she absolutely thinks of me as an enemy. She clearly does. But to my mind, there's only one of us here. And this is the product of a waveform. And the more detached you can be from the external circumstances, the appearance of volatility, or the actuality of volatility. Sometimes it's actually volatile and violent even. But the more you can see that as just part of the systemic release, we're here clearing for the entire earth. So she's definitely got some massive hostility that's being purged. So many people have told me that recently. I had one person that I used to work with, actually. In his mind, he said, You need to stop sending hexes and curses and hexes and curses and negative energy at me and my girlfriend. It's like, I've never done that in my life. I never think about him. I didn't know he had a girlfriend. I couldn't care less. But I'm not saying that his perception is wrong, but I know it's not coming from me. I know that if the entire world is your mirror, and sometimes with very large energy streams, you need a full-length mirror. You're not going to get the same catalytic effect from, if you try to like get an overview or see yourself with a dental mirror, it's not going to be the same thing if it's individuated. If you're dealing with very large energy streams, you're going to need the equivalent of a full-length mirror, right? So I'm a reflection, a mirror for a lot of people. So if a lot of the, extend this idea to the collective, if a lot of us are in purge mode right now or assisting other people who are in purge mode right now, very often they see us, we're doing our job. So we take the light, we shine our light, we go into darkness, and we just trigger the hell out of people. And most of the time, the reaction, it's more a reaction than a response, is that they blast us with whatever the hell they were containing. And we want it to come out. So well done. Okay, great. Let's see if we can be peaceful and just just bear witness to it without taking it on or taking it personally or having it trigger us in response so it becomes an additional conflict. You don't need to do that. Just observe your own reaction to it if you get hit by it. But it's interesting that so often they tell us that we're the ones who did it. But if you're confronted with a mirror and somebody, turns around, they see themselves in the mirror and they say, that is the ugliest thing I've ever seen in my life. That is so hideous. And it goes forward and it bounces back because we don't absorb it. It bounces back and hits them directly because manifestations are happening faster and faster and faster. There's a very, very tight turnaround now. So the effect that this person's feeling who blasts me with negative energy, they really are getting blasted back. It's not because I'm doing it. I'm sitting, so somebody told me the other day that she thought that I was making her suicidal at one point, which I've never done. I've actually really prayed for this person's health, for real. I really care about this person. And she said, well, you told me I was suicidal, so you're manifesting my suicide. And I said, no, I'm not, sweetheart. I only said you were suicidal because you said you were suicidal. So I called you suicidal because you said you were going to kill yourself. It's not because I'm like, yeah, or secretly or otherwise. No, that's not the way that works. I pray for her well-being all the time, actually. But I want to tell you about, so different subject. My work has taken a turn. It's basically on the same path, but it's doing something different. Many of you are probably going to experience a bit of, it's not mission drift, but there's sometimes as we're going around, there's a lot of group changes that are happening right now so it's good, because of all the up-leveling that's happening. As we clear, we up-level, right? So the more you're working, the more you're clearing, the more you're stepping, the more you're leveling up, right? So the people that you hang with are going to be different. Your associates are going to be different. The faster, the harder you work, the more you churn, the more you clear, you're going to go up and up and up and up and up. So it seems in some ways to be very inconsistent, but really it's just you're on a one-track mind. And then at some point, you're going to recognize like you've really done the bulk of the clearing work, and then your mission is going to change because you step up into a new job because you're ready for a new role. So very often when that happens, our relationships definitely change. Our grid point often changes. you know, our location will change. And our work changes. So I did private sessions for a long time, and then I was doing, I was kind of triangulating people with introducing them to other people, and we would have three-way calls for a while. And now, I'll just tell you what I started doing in the middle of the night. It's not every night, but it's happening on a regular basis, and it is fascinating. It is, to me, it's fascinating. I'm working a lot with reconnecting species and gene keys, codes, and all of our senses of all of our systems are coming back online. How do I organize this material? Okay, I intended to do a 5-minute activation, and now all of a sudden I'm in like terrain. I've started so through this transmission today, whether you listen to the whole thing or just a little bit, you're going to start getting connected with your soul family, your soul tribe. You don't have to identify it or label it as such. You don't have to know, you know, I have to figure out if I'm an Arcturian or Pleiadian or, you know, am I a Pleiadian? What am I? You don't have to do any of that. You're going to be sorted, a little bit like the sorting hat in Harry Potter. Don't worry, we're going to take care of all of that for you. You're going to go in one of 4 houses. You're going to go in one. You're going to go in exactly where you need to go. But you're not going to be placed you're not going to be given this much information when you're at this level and you can only like swallow a Tic Tac size amount at a time, because that would be harmful. A lot of this energy circuitry is sonic, it's electric, it's magnetic, it's very sensory. So it's also rotating constantly. This is actually 4, if you can imagine, 4 tornadoes in one gigantic spinning wheel of space-time. And it's like, it's basically, I'm not going to get into that right now. We're bridging the tangible and the intangible. Somebody wrote to me the other day and they said, I heard that we're going to be getting more colors. How can we get more colors? Explain, you know, I can't wait to see what that looks like. But how is it possible for us to get more colors? And I said, what's going to happen, or what is happening currently? It's fascinating. It's an extraordinary time to live in, for real. As we reconnect with all of the life forms. Let's say, for example, I'm in a human body, but the human beings are connecting first with the animals in their immediate environment. So it's going to be dogs and cats mostly first. Birds, other household animals. That's what we're really, we're starting largely with dogs and cats. Dogs smell they see differently. They smell a different portion of the spectrum. So it's not that the colors are going to be inherently added, but our senses, our awareness is going to be so expanded as we contribute, as we link up with all of the animals and the beings, all of is consciousness, and we begin to tend to our houseplants and treat them less as objects and more like living sentient beings that we can now have communion with. And as our empathy opens up and we become more empathic with one another, sometimes we just begin to take on the ability to sense what our environment, aspects of our environment, are sensing as well. This is one of the reasons that all things base must go to the base. All the density must be basically located in the same spot, because one of the main problems we've had is, and really everything's divine, but it's been tremendously frustrating. It's caused the most angst is that there are different levels of density that move at different speeds. So some things have been tremendously delayed and other things are very speedy. And we're trying, with this arrangement, we're trying to put all things where we are sorting, like sifting process. You shake everything up and all of the density goes into the center. And gradually everything gets lighter and lighter and lighter and more spacious. And basically, if this is a cross section of time, you go around and around and around through the tangible to the intangible portal. And then there's kind of space in between. And we're mixing the tangible and the intangible because we're going through ascension of the body. We're moving from carbon-based beings to silicon-based beings. So we're essentially stepping into our crystalline bodies, but we're taking our bodies with us. And crystals have consciousness too. This entire planet has been asleep. So we're awakening. We can't awaken everything all at once because the fear level would be so extreme that the planet would explode. So it's being done in a staggered, in a step-by-step layered fashion. Certain layers, a little bit like a gobstopper, where the outer layers are dissolving first. And then you're responsible for receiving instruction and then directly assisting the layer that's directly beneath you. So at some point, everyone becomes a teacher, and it's it's everyone's role to basically find their appropriate position in the living networks, gigantic systems of exchange of information and all senses. So when we say we're getting more senses, in order to not overwhelm the system, and can you imagine if you suddenly got the senses, all of your clear senses all at once? It would produce mass psychosis if everyone did that. So it is coming on in a staggered way, but the physical senses are going to expand and then also everyone is going to have a minimum of 12 strands of DNA fully lit. So everyone is going to have a bare minimum of their clear senses fully operational with no delay. So your clairaudience is going to be fully active. Your clairsentience, your clairvoyance, everyone is going to have that and be a member of the telepathic network. We can't do it all at once. So that's why these energetic transmissions, you're going to get as much as, and I'm going to do them regularly. I was going to do them for only 10 minutes. I just can't do it yet. We'll see if I can shorten it. Just get as much as you can. There are people, so one of the challenges is that there are people who need this amount of information. And ultimately, it doesn't all have to be delivered in a linear way either. It's a little bit like the Essenes taught, like in the Bible, the biblical information was linear up to a point, and then as soon as you really begin, but it's very dualistic, right? The Bible, because it's made for a time of extreme polarity, so that was appropriate. It had to go in two directions. It's very dark and it's very light, because dark and light always move in the same, they exist together, they move together. The advanced teachings of the Essenes were all telepathic and given directly to the student, and in that way, the lower level students, everyone can ultimately have access to the higher array of, to be able to receive the higher array of knowledge, but it can't be premature. It would be harmful to them if that happened prematurely. So the advanced teachings are freely available to anyone who can access them, but in order to access them, your crown chakra has to be open. You have to be able to accommodate that much light. Your pineal gland must be treated well and fully open. Your third eye is open. All your chakras are aligned. And when you've done that, you're going to automatically be a participant in the exchange of more energy, which inherently has more information. I was going to talk about the imaginal. Oh, no, I was going to talk about this first. Because this is what my work has started to do recently. And it's so interesting that it's been happening in the middle of the night. So if we're talking about like waking sleepers, something suddenly started happening to me in the middle of the night, different from lucid dreaming, different from light language. What started to happen is that I tend to go to bed at a regular time. I go to bed at around 9:30, and I would sleep for a couple of hours soundly, sleep well, and then automatically, almost like I was electrocuted, like a switch is turned on. I jump up in the middle of the night, and every place in my house it represents a region of Earth or a climate, like a small ecosystem. That's why I've got like the fish tank and the snake tanks and the birds, and they all represent, I've got a gecko tank and a tortoise, and they all represent various climates or ecosystems, really. And what started to happen is I jump up in the middle of the night. I have to go into the kitchen. It happens automatically. It's kind of like, I know it's part of my mission. It doesn't feel like I'm being controlled, but it does feel like I'm very much on task. And I know that I'm not the only one who's doing this too. That's the interesting thing. There's enough connectivity where it feels, I feel very connected to a humongous array of other species. And this is just the time that we all work together. So typically for about 3 hours in the middle of the night, my sleep will be interrupted. I will be on my feet, and this is why I call it weird. I'm used to it now and I kind of enjoy it. But all of a sudden, not light language specifically, but an array of frequencies, it's different from toning, an array of frequencies and vowels, consonants, all sorts of clicks, all sorts of noises will just come out of my mouth. And I'm aware of that we're doing something very specific, and I'm on task. And I know I'm not the only one doing it. For every single species on Earth, all of life, every variety of species represents each one of them has, it's almost like a filament of like fiber optics. And in that sequence, there is a very specific identifying, it's like, I guess it's a gene key, right? But the gene keys are also, it's not just, there's a number, we're trying to run these frequencies, and what happens is that I stand up there, and sometimes there are movements, sometimes I know I have to go west, I have to go to a location which tends to represent some place on Earth that's, I'm using this apartment as a surrogate for Earth. I'm using my body as a surrogate for Earth. And we're trying to find the exact right key that's an entire sequence by which the animal or the alien species recognizes its people on Earth, its group on Earth. So it's very hard it's difficult to explain, but I'm aware when I'm doing this work, I'm aware of thousands and thousands of beings all around me kind of floating in the air, and the frequencies come out of my mouth, and it changes there are tiny fluctuations, because it has to be, it's precision work, man. Each one of them has a very specific waveform that's a color, and it's not like the other day it was leaf green, but what I see colors flashing in the air, and that I know that as I change the vowels or as I change the consonants, as the sounds that come out of my mouth change slightly, I know that we're waiting to see the color that matches it. It's going to be matched to an exact color. And sometimes there are certain combinations that are repeated, and then we have to wait for other ones to come in. But there's a there's each soul each soul group, species, we're bringing species back online. I'm aware that we're moving species in both directions. So some species that are on Earth, for all of you who are environmentalists who are worried about like climate change and that systems are that we're losing all the polar bears, and there are no more tree frogs of this kind, and God's not stupid. We're moving them as a soul group over so we can get certain things, so we're going to move them out of the polluted areas, and then when the pollution is taken care of, we're going to put them back. Nothing gets wasted. No one's getting thrown out. We're waiting because really, in some ways, the shit's really going to hit the fan on 3D Earth. And we don't want our people there. We don't want our most sensitive beings there. We're moving them. We're taking them up in higher, basically the same realm where, fairies exist, mermaids exist. They're not extinct. They're there. We moved them. They weren't getting any respect. They weren't getting any more belief. I mean, a lot of us do. A lot of us know they're there. But we moved a lot of groups, species as groups. Like quaggas are there, and all sorts of dire wolves and all sorts of things that went extinct. We move them, and then we have the capacity to bring them back down too. When it's clean and safe and they get some respect, we'll bring them back. So I'm aware but they all have to recognize when they have been called. So there's a so difficult thing to explain. If you picture a very long fiber optic filament, and every species has a wavelength that has a number. Sometimes it will be a sound or a frequency that is sometimes associated with a number. Like the other day, I was going bop, 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 bop. And every once in a while, when you get it right, when something has lined up, it gets the filament. When you have found all of the frequencies, that filament disappears with the species. They take it and they go. They're like, yeah, we got ours, thank you. And it's like all hands on deck, and the next one comes in, and we're trying to sort everybody out. So the other day, for example, it's also there are different flavors. Like there's just a signature. There's an energetic signature. And we're trying to match the group souls to the individuals. So if you're listening to this is one of the ways that you're going to be able to get frequencies that come through me. They're going to be activated in you, and your own soul signature is going to start to recognize where it actually is supposed to go. So it may lead you in a direction that's going to take you to another grid point on Earth. It may lead you to people who are in your soul tribe who will similarly recognize you. We need that. What are you doing, kid? So sometimes there's a flavor. So this makes a lot of sense, right? Because, for example, dogs might not recognize colors as well, but they definitely will recognize a fragrance. So sometimes when I'm doing this work, it will be a taste that will come in, or it will be a scent that we just have to identify it with and the colors. Like the other day, we in the middle of the night it was one night that was shorter than the other ones. It was like an hour and a half, and for some reason we were doing mantis species and leaves with jagged edges, because it had to do with the shape. Like the shapes are really important. We're looking for specificity. Every force evolves a form. We're trying to match the shapes with the forms, with the flavors that they're attracted to. We're trying to put all of the species back where they inherently go to correct for massive environmental toxin damage. It's a re-migration. We're restoring the natural organic template that will allow all of the systems to thrive. So it's massive work. It's very enjoyable work, and I absolutely love it. but it's complex. It's just fascinating because the other day we were doing mantis species, leaves with jagged edges. For some reason, it was lowercase f. That was one shape, and a whole array of mantis species were there, and they were waiting to I could tell that they were waiting to see if we got all of theirs. There were flavors and scents in the air, and what was the, oh, and sometimes we will hear notes, and then weird noises come out of my mouth that it feels like it doesn't come from my like my vocal cords don't make that sound, but the sound came out of me anyway. So I just know that it's just one of the things that we're working on. It's fascinating stuff. And then the interesting thing is that it seems to, I didn't understand this at first. I was like, why can't we just keep going? I'll just work through the night. But no, it turns off just as quickly. It's like the session's over. This is as much as we have for today. And then I go right back to sleep. Like I'm so energized while I'm doing this work. There's so much energy. It's so charged. And then it's like, boop, it's like just totally turned off. I go back to sleep and I sleep like a log. And then I was wondering why. Like one night it was 5 hours. One night I worked for 3 hours. The next night, or like a couple nights later, it was only about 15 minutes. Like it feels really good. It's very kind of manic energy. It's very carbonated. But I was asking kind of my guides and myself, like I was just asking the question, like, how come this session was so short? We only did 15 minutes and now like it's gone. I have to go back to bed. And it turns out that we're working in this portion of the spectrum where we only have just a little bit of knowledge, all of it. It's not knowledge. Let me totally change the word. It's that it represents a duration of time that if we're working down here, this is as much time as we've got. It's a very narrow window. So I only had like 15 minutes for this energy to get through, and we do as much as we can in that time. When we go up, we get a longer portal window to accomplish a certain thing. So I feel that, what are you doing? I feel that some of you, I just wanted to go online and inform some of you that this is the direction my work has taken, because I know that I tend to be on the forefront, on really the cutting edge. Most things, like I'm sure a lot of you do too, that we're the way showers. If you are in the way shower, the leading edge group, we typically go through things way before other people do. So that means if I'm doing this now, a lot of other people are going to be doing it too, behind me. So a way will be made, and that's what we're doing. We're going in two directions. Well, we're going in all directions actually, but we've created a way for those who rely on physicality, who need physicality in order to feel safe. They look for a bridge. They're going to look for something solid or a stepping stone in order to proceed forward. They're not comfortable. They're too scared to move forward with their life unless they have something tangible, a path. Those of us who tend to be more energy driven or more energy based, if we hey, over here, please, don't eat the bird. Energy travels through space. So energy travels like water. So if water meets a wall, it's going to stop. But if it meets a doorway, it's going to go through. Energy requires a space to go through. So we have to remember that the intangible is equal to the tangible. And that's the way we do balance. We're building a lattice work that is half support and half space. Yeah. So I think yes, hello. You know what? I think I'm going to end this live stream now, but it's short for me, right? What was it? It's only 49 minutes long. Oh no, I'm going to end it at 50. Excellent. Oh crap, did I do that? Wait, 55. Okay, so I'm going to end it at 50. 1 second though, because I want to show you, Rebel. Here. Come here. 1 second. she's a bulk of the thing. Here she is. Here's Rebel. All right, Rebel's never been on camera before. There. Say hi to the people. There she is. She's a big, beefy boulder dog. Love her. Okay. Are we done for now? Yeah, I think we are. She's a big snuggle pup. All right, I'm going to put you down. You don't look like you're enjoying this at all. Go play with your sister. There you go. And Luke's asleep. All right, he's a black lab. He's on the floor. I'm going to go feed these dogs. I love you very much. Okay. No, I think we did well. So it's 50-20. All right, I'm signing off, and I feel like I already forgot something, but whatever. I'm going to start to do transitions more, activations more often, and I'm going to try to get it down to where they're shorter, but whatever. All right, I love you. Bye-bye.